So what you're currently viewing is the proposed JPL Retirement Process flowchart. Now, I wish I could tell you I eliminated so many boxes on this process chart, but that's not the case because there are pertinent things that have to happen in this process that we actually need to keep. But what I do feel will be valuable, and I've included in the changes to this process flowchart, is the implementation of a system or a tool to help us deal with some of the manual data entry or manual emails sent to employees by the Tier 1 representatives. So if we start with the process, the employee completes and submits the retirement notification form on the HR website. The system then kicks in as opposed to before where the Tier 1 person would start to pick up the work. The system now confirms the employee's eligibility requirements. Based on that, if the employee is eligible to retire, no, an automated email is sent with the eligibility requirements to the employee. If it's a yes, the tool will then generate a confirmation email sent with FAQs and an enrollment guide so that the employee can begin to look at that information before they meet with their retirement counselor, which is also great because at this point, a Tier 1 member hasn't even picked up any of the process yet, whereas before they would have jumped in right after the employee submitted the notification and then their process would have started. So to continue, not only does that system send a confirmation email with FAQs and an enrollment guide, but it also populates that information onto the retirement counselor spreadsheet. So the employee information that was on the notification guide transfers over word for word onto the spreadsheet, as well as notifies the retirement counselor that they've been assigned an employee who is eligible to retire. And then the counselor begins their standard process, which we really didn't have a change too much to, because like I said, those are the pertinent things that need to happen in their process. But once the employee receives their confirmation, Ask HR Tier 1 member also receives a confirmation that an employee is eligible to retire. So they go into the sheet, they confirm that all the information has been populated, which is great because they're just confirming, they're not doing the actual data, so that they can start their process that picks up with pulling the employee's file. And then what's new is creating a soft copy of that file so that they can actually purge the hard copy and no longer house any hard copies. Everything will be kept electronically. And then they continue to their process of entering the employee's information into Mercer. Unfortunately, that is still manual data entry because that is another platform with another vendor that we don't have control over submitting any type of system and tool information to them, which is okay. We're still making progress, but after that, the counselor is notified, and then they can go on to submit the retirement announcements, but instead of sending 3 individual spreadsheets to each different person who handles those items, we can send one email spreadsheet with all the pertinent information that each group needs, and that's the end of the Tier 1 process. So there was very few subtle changes made to this, but I think that the subtle changes that were made to this process will be extremely helpful to this team. Another thing to note is that as the employee leaves and receives his final paycheck and badge, this is also where he would be able to receive his token. He or she will be able to receive his token of appreciation frame, the one that I had proposed that says, "Thank you for supporting our universe." And then they leave. And that is the end of the JPL retirement process. So hopefully these proposed changes will not only help streamline the process, but make a positive experience for both the employee and the HR representative.